Hey, welcome to this new lecture, and this should be the last lecture of this section. Now, this is a bonus lecture in that in this lecture we're not going to work on our web application, so we're not going to improve it further. So this is not related to the application that we built, but it is related to web applications, and we're talking about Flask web applications. What I wanted to do is I wanted you to learn how to have a visitor, a user of your web application to upload and download files from your web app. And that's what I'm going to do in this lecture. I'll quickly show you how to quickly add an input where the user can submit a file, and then how to handle that file in Flask, and also how to let the user download a byproduct of that file. So uploading, processing, and downloading. And I've got two sample files in here, as you can see in green. They are colored in green because here we got this Git repository. These files haven't been uploaded to Heroku, and Atom is smart enough to let you know about that. So I'm going to use this text file and CSV file to upload them to our web app and then download them. So first of all, you need to modify your index.html file. At the moment, what we've got, so let me run this virtual scripts activate python app.py, and then go to the browser, reload, Ctrl-R. And yeah, what I'm going to do now is, instead of having this text input, I'm going to have a file input there, which is quite easy. I'm just going to delete one of the inputs, and this one here. And yeah, input, we don't need the title, neither the placeholder, and this time we don't have an email type, we have a file type. Name, let's call it file. Required, that doesn't matter much. You need to pass here an encryption type, which should be multi-part form data, just like that. So that is necessary to be able to handle this file in Flask. And if I save this now and go to the web page, and now we've got this choose file input there, which will allow us to pass a file input, so like that. However, for now, if we press submit, we're gonna get an error probably, and that underlies we want to handle this file in Flask now in Python, so we want to read that file. So let's go back to our app.py file, yeah, and here again we're talking about a post request, so the user is sending data to our web application. So yeah, this should be fine. The name of the function is success, and here we're using the URL for success. That's perfect. And yeah, what we want to change here is, instead of requesting the form, you want to request files here. And then in here you need to pass the name of the input from your HTML template. So this here, a file here, and file there. That's good. We don't need this. I'm just using my web application for the sake of having a ready-made structure, so I'm just making use of the structure here. I'm not interested on database or whatever. So I'm just going to clean this. We don't need this database code. Just delete that, and the return should be here. And maybe change this to file instead of email. And yeah, what we're doing is, if we check if the request is a post request, and then we get the file and we store it in this file variable, and then we render the template success.html. So if request is post, we render that template. And let's keep it simple and remove these other lines in there. So I'm just going to render success.html, and maybe I want to show you what this file is. So print file, and also print the file type file. And now I'm going to the web application. Reload once, it's working. Choose a file, sample.txt, submit. We seem to have gotten an error there. It says, to fix this error, you should provide encryption type multipad. Yeah, but we did provide that. Let me go and double check in index.html. Form action, no. Oh, I seem to have passed this in here. So sorry, this should be passed in the form. So just there. Yeah, let me try out again. Reload, choose a file and sample.txt, submit. And yeah, the success page was rendered successfully, but let's check our terminal where it says, yeah, we've got this. We printed out file, and this is what we got. So file storage sample.csv, and it says the application that handles those files. Now, we also got this file type, and we see that this is a special file storage type. So it's not a simple file object. However, you can handle that as a Python object actually. And what I mean by that is, you know, if you go to your Python script again, and if you want now, you can apply a file.read method to that file. And let's store that in a variable and then print out the variable. And let's go to our web application again. Success. Choose file sample.csv, submit. Yeah, success is rendered again, and this time you see this is a text of the CSV file. So we've got some data in there. It starts from here: address, area, bats, full bats, half bats, locality. Yeah, so this is basically the data that we got from the web scraping project. And yeah, that's about reading. Now let's see how we go about writing to our file. Well, to do that, you'd have to save the file in your directory first. So yeah, let's delete those. And to save your file, you have a save method available to this file storage object. And then in brackets, you'd say file. Again, you point to your file object, and then to the file name method. Yeah, so what this returns is, it just returns the file name of the file that the user submits through the form. And then Flask will save the file using this file name. And you can also add something there, let's say another string, upload it, and then plus the other string. So this is a string, and this is also a string. And we can concatenate them. So I'll try this. Go here and choose file again, sample.csv, submit, and let's see in the directory. Yep, we've got this uploaded sample.csv, and this is the same as sample.csv. So yeah, that's basically how you let the user upload a file to your directory. Now, something you should know is that it's not safe to use this expression. You want to apply another method here, always, which is secure file name. And then inside the brackets, you enter this expression. And what this method will do is, it basically secures the file name of the file that is entered by the user. Because, you know, sometimes some users, maybe hackers, they may send some files that have some sneaky file names, such as, let's say, you know, something like that, which will point to your server root, and then they may enter some bash files that can do something on your Linux, so on Heroku, if you upload that to Heroku. And this method, secure file name, makes sure that this kind of slashes are ignored, basically. So yeah, always use that. This is a method, so we have to import that, and you do that from Werkzeug, import secure file name. You should have this library installed already, because this is installed with Flask automatically. I'll quickly check to make sure that the change I made is correct. Delete that and try to execute that again from here. Choose file, sample.csv, submit, and yeah, let's see it in here. Yeah, upload it, sample.csv again. Here it is. Great. Now, once you have that file, you can simply go ahead and open that with uploaded plus file.file name in write mode as let's say f, and then f.write, or let me open this in append mode so that I add another line in there. This was added later. Yeah, that should work. So let me try this out. Choose file, sample.csv, submit, and let's go and check. Uploaded sample.csv. Yeah, here is my line. And yeah, that's how you get files from the visitor, from the users. And also this is how you can modify them. Now let's see how you allow the user to download your files. Well, what I'm going to do is, instead of the success page, what I'm going to render is I'm going to render a download button down here, which underlies that I still want to render the index.html page, but I want to insert this download button in the page. So how do we do that? Well, we go here and we say render index.html, but then we want to render, to create a variable and say that would be equal to download.html. Good. And then you go to templates, create a new file, call it download.html, and here you want to write something like this. For the sake of keeping the video short, I pasted something that I wrote earlier. Yeah, this is a HTML page with a normal text in there, and we have a division here, and then we've got this HTML button in here. And when the user presses the download button, this Python function will be executed. So a function named download, which we haven't created yet, and inside that function we will write the code, the Python code that downloads a file. So at this point, if you refresh this, you wouldn't get the download button right away, because you haven't yet told your index.html page about your download button. So to do that, you want to insert here under a form, you want to insert a Jinja placeholder, Jinja2 placeholder, where you want to say include btn for the variable that we created in the Flask function. Now, if you save this and go to your web app, reload, you'll get an error. And what it says is, tries to select from an empty list of templates. So why is Python not being able to find a template? Well, the reason to that is, if you go here, when we reload the web page, what we're visiting is the index.html, so this URL, and this function is executed. That function is trying to render the index.html page, but when you go here, index.html page cannot find this empty template, so the btn variable, because btn variable is not being passed in here, but is being passed in this one here, in this render template function of the success.html page actually. So you should figure out a way to ignore this btn variable when the user is visiting the index web page, the home page of your website. The way to do that is very easy. You just say ignore missing. So, and then you go here, reload, and the page reloads perfectly. And you can see that the download button is not displayed now because you need to display that after the user presses submit. So when the user presses submit, the success function is executed, and the render and the index.html template is rendered again together with the download.html button. So the trick here is to include this ignore missing. I didn't include this right away. I wanted you to understand what this does. So I hope this is clear now, and yeah. Let me try now the web page, choose file, sample.txt, submit. We got an error that could not build URL for endpoint download. Did you mean index instead? What's happening here is, you know, when Flask is rendering this template, it tries to access the download function, but we haven't such a function in the app file. We need such a function to write the downloading code. So let's get past this error for now by creating just a dummy function. Approad, so downloads, yeah, and define a function with name download, and just pass. So don't do anything for now, just to trick Flask that we actually have a download function. Choose file and sample.txt, submit, and here's the download.html template, which is actually a simple button. Now when the user presses download, the download function will be executed, which is this one here. And yeah, now we're ready to write here the downloading code, and that would be send file, and we need to import that request send file. So that's a method that sends a file to the user via the browser. And then down here you want to send this string, so just pass it there, and you also need to pass this parameter, which is a file name that you want to give to your file, to the file that will be sent to the user actually. And so it's basically the same file but with another name. Let's say your file.csv. And finally, you may want to pass as attachment equals to true, so that the user actually downloads that file instead of trying to open that in the browser. And yeah, that should do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this now. Choose file, sample.txt, submit, download. Name file is not defined. Actually, name file is not defined because we're inside a function here. And if you look here, file was defined inside another function. So we're talking about local variables, local variable here or local variable there. And to get past this problem, actually it's very easy. Inside the success function, you want to create a global variable. So you're declaring a global variable. Now file can be accessed throughout the Python script, and that includes this function. So let me try this again. Sample.csv, submit, download, successful. So the file name is yourfile.csv. And yeah, this is the data. So the user submitted a file that contained all of these records. But then what you did is you added this line, saved that file in your system, in your directory, and then you send that file back to the user. And yeah, that's what I wanted to show you in this lecture. I hope you find this useful. And actually, you're going to need this for the project in this course. Please get ready for that. In the next session, you're going to get this kind of project. Hope you enjoy this, and yeah, I'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.